migration is the perfect storm that populist parties benefited from. We tend to assume that Europeans are getting more and more skeptical about migration since 2015. We are talking a lot, media are talking a lot about migrants, and what we discover looking at data is that Europeans are in fact not becoming very much more skeptical towards migrants. Attitudes are not likely to change very easily. They are rooted in personality and socialization, which makes them pretty resistant to political changes. Europeans make a clear distinction between intra-European migration and migration coming from outside of the European Union. Attitudes towards intra-European migration have become more and more positive, even in countries like Hungary or the Czech Republic, which are pretty much skeptical about migration at all. But in these countries, migration from countries like Italy, for instance, are not seen as a problem. In a way, populist parties, especially right-wing populist parties, need migration. Migrants gave populist parties an opportunity of criticizing national elites or establishment in saying, well, look, they are not dealing well in managing migration. They are in fact not serving the interest of the people. They are also protecting migrants and not protecting the people from migrants who are increasingly becoming a security issue in the eyes of populists. For instance, if you take the case of Salvini claims to solve the migration problem, but in fact he needs migration because this is one of the top issues of his electoral campaign. So he needs migrants in order to blame migrants. Migration, it's a big deal because of the so-called salience of migration. So when we ask Europeans what are the main issues in politics, what are the main problems that politics needs to solve, migration ranks among the most important ones. People started to think that migration is something that needs to be solved. And this influenced politics because many started to vote according to their feeling about which party could solve the migration problem. In many European countries, right-wing populist parties are one-issue party. They only focus on migration, they only focus on refugees. And whenever other parties talk about refugees and migration, they do the job of right-wing parties. So they should more focus on issue, socio-economical issue, environmental issues, on which most often right-wing populist parties have no clear opinion.